he said in the song, New York stand up, partying like it's 1999 officially, because the Knicks are partying like it's 1999, actually making the NBA Finals for the first time in 27 years. So, we'll give our congrats and things like that in a little bit here, but, talk about what transpired in the Eastern Conference Finals, the ass whooping that happens to the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Knicks, and then look on the Western Conference side. It's a battle between the Thunder and the Spurs still through 5 games. Possibly could be 7 games. We'll see on how tomorrow's game is. But, we'll cover all that real short for you guys. This is Ballin Out. Sean, Nate, Grant back with you guys. Like we said, Knicks are partying like it's 1999, 4-0 sweep, and then the Thunder are up 3-2 after Tuesday's Game 5 victory. We all know, how Game 5s are so important in a 7-game series. But to start off today, obviously, we got to talk about the Knicks. The last time we talked, it was a week ago. So, the Game 1 whole thing happens. Then the Knicks kind of got momentum, right? The Cavs were up 22 points, and then they failed to really score. They only scored 11 points within 15 minutes of actual game time. And then, so Knicks carried that momentum off to Game 2. And then Game 3, same thing. Game 4, the starters was out of the game with about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, which I thought was crazy. It's like, it's the conference finals. We really got bench dudes, and I'm not talking like, your regular, like, 8th, 9th man. I'm talking like G League players out there on the court in the conference finals, and there's a lot of time left in the game. So, but yeah, to start off, I'll just, go ahead. Knicks are hooping right now. They're on an 11-game win streak. During this win streak, their average margin of victory, 22.5 points. During the Cavs series, 25.5 points, margin average of victory. And then during the playoffs, 18.4. So, they're really on all cylinders. The only person to give them a run for their money was CJ McCollum in the first round. Other than that, they've swept everyone away. But, just let me get you guys' thoughts on the Knicks kind of cruising. And, do you think that it'll carry over into the finals here?
Yeah, well, as a 99 baby myself, I remember like it was yesterday when the Knicks were in the playoffs, went to the finals and all that. Some of my first core memories, you'd say. No, it was, yeah, we've been talking about it for a while now. The Knicks have just looked, just like a different beast in the East, if you will. I just think they're playing so much better than everybody right now. And they haven't lost in May, and they, like you mentioned too, like they're not just like they're winning games by, 2 points or, edging it out at the end. First game against Cleveland, sure, that was even that though, that was more than just like a, a 2-point win. Whatnot. That was special. Um, but yeah, like what they've been able to accomplish, what they've done, gotta give them a lot of credit. One thing I will say too, just play devil's advocate a little bit, man, this East is ass. East is ass. I'll be honest. Even Pistons, like we didn't play great. We
Yeah.
were really good in the regular season. We played great, but I never thought like we had it. There's good, moments, stretches, but I don't think we put together maybe one good game, like one great game, start to finish, like we did like some of the regular season games. So, like us, the Cavs. We talked about it before. Sean, unfortunately, you've had to go through it because you had James Harden on your team. There ain't no playoff success coming with that. It's very minimal. It's just, I could probably spend a good 20 minutes just grilling James Harden for a lot of that series because there was. They straight up just attacked him. Whatever they wanted to with anybody, honestly. Yeah, Jalen Brunson, of course, the numbers show that he was just insanely different when James Harden was guarding. But yeah, again, a lot of kudos to the Knicks. I won't rip the Cavs too much, but I know, during our off-season talk, we'll see exactly what we all think the Cavs will do and stuff. So I'll save all of that, but yeah, they definitely got to do something there. But a lot of flowers to the Knicks, and it's tough because I think the West, like you kind of hit on there real quick, um, the West, in my opinion, is just better than it's been in a long time in terms of those two teams right now. I think Thunder and Spurs are just ahead of a lot of teams we've seen back. I mean, go back to those Warriors days. That's kind of what I'm talking. If you go there, it's like, oh, okay. But to this day, yeah, I mean, so when you got a team like that, I think this is going to be probably one of the best finals we've had. I mean, potentially in a while. If the Knicks really do continue to play the style of ball they're playing, we'll see if they can keep it up against two, in my opinion, top tier defensive teams. I think both the Spurs and Thunder are phenomenal defensively, and they can switch a lot of those. They can cause a lot of matchup issues there. We've seen that with the Spurs too, which we'll touch on that. But yeah, I think it'll be a very very good series in the finals, I should say, between whoever comes out of the West and then the Knicks.
Yeah, I agree. We could probably spend this whole episode grilling the Cavs, and just how disappointing they were. But man, congrats to the Knicks. I don't think I expected them to make a finals in my lifetime. But here we are. Jalen Brunson. Maybe it was a sign. He led my fantasy basketball team to the chip. Now he's leading the Knicks to the chip. So he's having quite a year. But man, the Knicks, I feel like this series, obviously they swept them, but it just flew by. Like we didn't even really get to from game 1 to game 4. Like I feel like talk a ton about any defensive changes or offensive changes that Cleveland really needed to do. I think, you know, at some point I feel like in that Hawks series, right after CJ gamed them in like game 2 or game 1, they just kind of flipped the switch and they haven't looked back since then. And it's been really impressive, I think, for the player's standpoint, but from Mike Brown as well. Like he had a lot of questions coming into the year. I know we talked about like, was it a good decision for them to fire Tibbs and go a different direction? But it seems to be obviously working out just fine for them because they are clicking on every cylinder right now. I think they're figuring out how to use Cat really well, and in this last series especially, where I remember I think he said before the playoffs like he wasn't exactly sure what his role was going to be, and now it's like I mean he's not the first option, but it's like and on offense they're looking towards him a lot to at least facilitate and get guys open, which has been fun to see. So I'm excited to see the Knicks in the finals. I think just to see their fans too go crazy. I think it's been funny to see like the fans, all playoffs go crazy after every game. I mean, game 1 in the playoffs, they were saying they were going to win it all. So, um, yeah, it's going to be crazy though to see it actually in New York and to see what that atmosphere is going to be like, regardless if it's San Antonio or um, Oklahoma City.
Yeah, real quick, did y'all see them ticket prices for the finals
Oh
at 50?
That's absurd.
boy,
I think I sent that to you guys ago, dude. This is really more than
Yeah,
houses these days.
yeah,
Like, what are we for
crazy.
for one game too? It's not even like a pack. Is it a package deal? Like you get the whole series?
dude,
Because like
that's like a Pistons full season ticket package
Yeah.
for one
for a
game, damn
decade.
near.
No, it's for a decade,
Right.
Yeah,
basically. You can
literally,
get that
like
shit. You kidding me?
those. I mean, New York. Obviously, that's one of the one places you can do it. But oh my gosh, some of these
What
tickets. I think courtside for one of them was like it was like 500 or like $400,000. It seemed
Do you
like,
see what
damn
it
near.
sold for? Because it sold. Did you see it?
what did it sell
It was
for?
like 218,000 or it
Oh
was
my gosh,
200. It was
yeah,
in the 200s. I know that. I just forget the exact. It was two. Yeah, whatever. But yeah,
That's
over two
insane.
hundred
ridiculous.
thousand dollars
That's
for
crazy.
for that.
Like my dream is always to go to a finals game, right? But like that's too much.
At what
I
cost?
that's too much. That's too
uh,
much. Man. But yeah, I mean just about the Knicks, like Nate, you mentioned like, Cat just, finding his groove and Grant, you mentioned Brunson, but to me it's just like they're showing as a team. Like it's not really just like one player, right? Yeah, Landry Shamet, did he miss 1 3 the entire series, right? Coming off the bench. You had a Josh Hart game, him going crazy. You had the McHale game, him going crazy. So it's been like a collective effort and I think for the Cavs, it was just they were trying to stop Brunson, but you can't when, all these other guys are kind of, gelling as well and making their shots. So it was tough for them. Uh, before we get into the, the West stuff, and I do have one we'll talk about it later about the Cavs. But I have one point about it. But with the Knicks, the way they're rolling right now, right? 11 straight games, right? Like you mentioned, Grant, haven't lost in the month of May. Can they give whoever comes out of the West a fight? Like, do you think it'll be like a long series, or kind of like how it was last year with the Pacers, maybe a 7-game series? Or do you think, because the West, two defensive teams, it's going to be too strong?
I mean, I don't think it's going to be a 7-game series, but I don't think it'll be a sweep either. I mean, that's pretty broad there, but I mean, I think the West still is going to win the series in my opinion, but I don't know. It's hard, right? I mean, I mean, the team hasn't lost this month in May. I mean, it's been a long month. It's been a long ass month, let me tell you. Uh, but yeah, so it's just like I have a hard time picking against the Knicks right now to like get whooped on, but like it also, I would be more shocked if it went to 7 than if it was like a 4-1 series. Because there's not even on the next two. I really think that the West just defensively, in my opinion, that's kind of, I mean, offensively we can get into that too, but I think defensively, like the West is just so much better, I think, than really any of the East teams. I mean, the best one statistically, I think, right now, other than San Antonio and the Thunder, was the Celtics. I think the Celtics were in third, yeah, which is like, I mean, that just shows kind of, I mean, the kind of tiers, if you will, I think, for like where the Spurs and Thunder are. And Knicks are up there as well, of course, no doubt about that. But I just think, especially if it is like the Spurs, I don't know what they're going to do with Wemby. Like, I just think, like, first off, Stephon Castle's clamping, I think. I mean, I don't know if he's, necessarily locking up like that, but it's going to be a struggle, I think, for the Knicks to really get something going. Because, I mean, those two guys there, and then we can get into all the other players there. It just kind of depends on teams. I don't want to go too far into it, um, but yeah, I just think the West is just overall matches up better. But the Knicks definitely just been a really dominant team over this past month, so it's hard to like pick against them. But yeah, I go somewhere like I mentioned, 5 to 6 games, probably about 6 would be my opinion there. I think the Knicks are still able to squeeze out 2.
Nate, what's your thoughts? What do you think?
I mean, the only counter I would have for that is just because of this West series being so physical and both teams dealing with a couple injuries here and there. I I'm not counting the Knicks out to potentially win. Like, I think because they're gonna have that, couple days rest advantage, and they really haven't had to struggle much in these last 2 series, like, alongside the fact that they're just playing well as a team, I think with both these West teams, there is more of a focus on one singular guy, uh, that maybe New York might have a little bit of advantage in terms of just kind of confusing their defense, whoever they go up against. But yeah, I wouldn't count them out. I do agree. I think the West, though, they have their overall talent wise is probably a little better. But man, for how the Knicks have been playing, I would not be surprised to see them win it all.
Yeah, if the Knicks win, something's gonna happen. Something
Mhm.
crazy gonna happen aside from the whole state of New York burning. So I'm here for it though, And then just my point about the Cavs, frauds. It's time to blow it up. I think it's just like you said, Grant. James Harden. Um, I mean, I still think that Donovan Mitchell can't be a number one option on a championship level team. It's proven year after year. This trio of Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen. I think we're getting on what 4 years now. I think it's time to break it up. So, we'll get into that more. A little bit later once we go into team depths of off season things of that matter. But I mean, to me, it's just Donovan Mitchell can't be the guy that you go to, and I know there's statistics to back it up and things. I think the Cavs are better off the court. They're better with Mitchell off the court than they were him on the court, especially in this series. So that'll be something we can look into further at a later date. But in the West, we do have a hard battle going out. The OKC is up 3-2 after winning Game 5 on Tuesday nights. Shea, did Shea things. I know people said he went to the free throw line. It was 16 times, but I mean, still 32 points, 9 assists, 2 rebounds. Alex Caruso again stepping up, 22 points, 6 assists. For the Spurs, and for me, and I want to get you guys' take on this, but for Game 3 and Game 5, Wemby hasn't looked like himself. The Wemby we saw in Game 1, or in Game 4. So it just feels like sometimes he's settling for the jump shots instead of you know, I know they're being a little bit physical, and Mitch Johnson has said something about it, and Stephon Castle and Wemby himself have kind of, been upset about, how the officials are calling the game things. But at the same time, like, you got to be physical yourself. I just like to see Wemby a little bit more like going to the paint. You're 7'4" for a reason, man. You use that length, use that height, going to the paint, stop settling for the jump shots. I mean, if they go in, they go in, but I think just his shot diet a little bit it isn't the best, especially, in these games that they've lost. But overall, good series. Want to hear, what you guys think?
No, I think, I mean, at the end of the day, this is going to be one of the series that we'll talk about for a while now. I think this still has great potential to go to 7. And yeah, I agree with you 1,000%, Sean. I think Wemby has to be more aggressive, and statistically, it's shown in every game that he's got like less than 5 attempts or whatnot in like the first quarter. They haven't won that game, and that was exactly, I think, the quote during last game when he wasn't playing like his greatest in that first quarter. They kept mentioning that stat, saying when he doesn't get it going to start, it's kind of hard for them to come back. And I agree with that. I mean, I think if Wemby's not going to be the guy getting the offense going, getting it cooking, I mean, really, the Thunder are just too good of a team. We get in all the fouls and stuff, and yeah, I think some of them were pretty soft, no doubt about that. But like, there were some obvious foul calls, in my opinion. Like, there were some like, okay, like, yeah, that was a foul. Like, and I mean, ones that the Spurs were complaining about, saying, "Hey, like, what is this?" And I see it both ways for some of them, but you kind of got to put that aside. You just kind of play the game, right? I mean, refs are gonna do what they gotta do, but like, you gotta use that as fuel. You used to use something, kind of to stop just that negative side of things, because that's just gonna put you in even worse against that good of a team. Um, but yeah, other than that, I mean, I think this is going to be just a phenomenal Game 6 here. I think the Spurs come out dominant, and I do think Wemby ends up, showing off pretty well. I think he has a good start, especially at home too. I mean, it's a little bit easier, I think, at home to kind of get going with the crowd. And San Antonio crowd's been, phenomenal so far. So I think he'll get cooking. I think they'll take Game 6, and I'm still sticking with my Spurs and to win the series here, but. Man, like OKC's just look good. They've kind of figured out a little bit what to do with Wembanyama a little bit. I don't think they've completely figured him out. I think that's almost an impossible task to do. But I think they've got a pretty good game plan for him, and I think I'm very curious to see really how the start of Game 6 goes, because I think that will tell the whole story of the game there. If you can't get it going, then especially at home too. At that, if you can't get it going at home, it's gonna be a tough one to win. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Spurs and 7 still, but yeah, again, a lot of kudos to the Thunder coaching staff and everyone too for kind of come up with different game plans and how to maneuver with Wemby on the court.
I agree with that. I think Game 5, what I noticed was, yeah, they were just a little more physical with Wemby, not letting him get in the ball in that first quarter. They were okay with other guys like Champagny taking threes, or Vassell taking these threes, which you'll live with that. I think at the rate that they're making their threes, like, they're I think they had like 12 or something, and they didn't shoot a great percent, but you still made 12 threes. And I think for Wemby to go 0 for 5 from the 3-point line, like you said, he's just kind of settling because he's not being able to get into the spots he wants to. It's just making it a little harder for him. And defensively, he's been playing well. I think he's stopping as much as he can, but offensively, he's just struggling a little bit more to find his positioning, either in the low post or more in that mid range area. For them to get the ball. I think some of that too is, maybe the plays that they're drawing up for him. It seems like they're running a little bit more of a free flow kind of, pass it around and then hope to get him open in the middle somehow. But um, he's just got to be a little more aggressive, demanding the ball. I think De'Aaron Fox has to do a little bit better of a job finding him because, it was game 5 was the game I think that they should have taken. Jalen Williams was out, AJ Mitchell was out, and I think Shea, although he had, 30, 15, 16 of those were at the free throw line. So it's not like he was just dominating the entire game. And it is funny because I feel like I've seen a lot of these memes of like the refs, Tony Brothers, like all these pictures of like them smiling, looking at the Thunder players. And it's like, I'm not saying it's scripted, but they're not making it look any better than it needs to be because some of these calls, like, I get, you miss a goaltend or you miss like uh a tacky foul here or there, but like they do add up, and especially when you're on like the home floor of the Thunder and they're known for like kind of trying not necessarily to foul bait, but like, you know, get these softer calls. It's like it just doesn't come off as a great look, I think, to the viewers. So but for the Spurs, yeah, I think game 6 is hopefully theirs. I want to see this go 7 anyway. So that's just more basketball for us.
Yeah, facts. I would love for the series to go 7. I think, game 7 would, I mean, it could be like the best game 7 that we've seen probably since what, Cavs Warriors 2016.
Mhm.
So that is up for debate. But I mean, just overall, what do you guys, what's predictions for game 6? We're in San Antonio. Last time we were in San Antonio, they got the Nuns to come out, and help get get some momentum on their side, and that seemed to work out. So they need to call the Nuns back to take it back one more game to OKC. What you guys think?
I said, tell them run it back. Tell them get their courtside seats ready. I mean, let's get them in the building. Yeah, I think Spurs are taking this one, like I mentioned, and then yeah, I think they've taken 7.
Yeah, I think the Spurs take this next one. I gotta see the guys around Wemby play a little bit better though. Fox, Dylan Harper. I know he's a rookie, but you've shown you can play well in these kind of high pressure moments. Um, and I just think if they are all kind of clicking, then it'll be a little bit easier for Wemby to get some open looks.
Yeah, you mentioned Fox. Like Fox really hasn't. I know he was hurt and he's dealing with this ankle injury, but he hasn't really like had a game where he's like stepped out, a little or just been like how he was during the regular season. It's been more of like a Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper being the two main guards, for San Antonio to kind of with the scoring and with the playmaking more than De'Aaron Fox. So hopefully game 6 that can happen. And yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I want Spurs to win game 6, so that we do have a game 7 this weekend, before the NBA finals. Last thing, before we go, just want to, they announced the, all the awards, and we can go back at a later date and go through that. But we want to talk about today, the coach of the year, Boston Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla did end up winning coach of the year, over JB Bickerstaff for the Pistons and Mitch Johnson for the Spurs. Um, Right, I know we've talked about a little bit about just this Pistons team, and we're Pistons fans, but do you think they got this right? Do you think Joe Mazzulla deserved the award over JB Bickerstaff? Me personally, I don't. Yeah, I understand what the Celtics did this year, second seed, and most of it without Tatum. But I mean, come on, I just think that the line's got to be somewhere, where we're like, okay, 60 wins from where you were 2 years ago, even last year. I think JB deserved it, but what you guys' thoughts on that, real quick?
I just want to say I did call it. I did call it. Uh, no, but I don't know. See, that's where like I don't know. I agree with everything you're saying there, Sean, but I also disagree with like talk about how the past for the Pistons and now how you got here. Like I get that. I get like it's part of like the process, but like I just view it as like that season as a whole. Like I think we were supposed to be like pretty decent. Not saying we were supposed to be that good by any means. Like nobody thought that. So I think there definitely is a lot of credit there, but like I think people didn't even talk about the Celtics like making the playoffs at all really. They said maybe they'd be a, 7 or 8 seed if they're lucky, or get in the play-in game with like a 9-10, but like I don't think anyone saw them going up to like what was it, 2 seed? Is that what they finished off? Correct? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like I get both sides. Like, yeah, I think JB definitely has an argument for sure. But for me, it's just like nobody thought that they would get here. I get playoff success. That's a whole other thing. But it is a regular season thing, so it's like I think he deserves a lot of flowers, and I get again the JB thing, but I just think that they were supposed to be so much worse than they were, and again the Tatum thing coming back helped, but I think more of it was just like keeping that team like together through it, and really just kind of trying to continue that goal, getting back to a championship, even though it wasn't successful, but it was, a lot better season. I mean, this was basically a write-off season, if you will, for Celtics fans that turned into a lot better. If they wouldn't have collapsed against the Sixers, who knows? Um, what the Eastern Conference would be looking like.
Yeah, congrats to JB. It probably is well deserved. I just think in terms of from what I saw, like the consistency from player there or first team, all NBA, first team all defense, coach of the year. Like a lot of people thought Jaylen Brown probably could have been in that first team all NBA. And then with Derek White being in the first team defensive over like Scotty Barnes, there was just like I feel like the NBA's got to refine a little bit of how they do the voting process with some of these because you're right. I mean, when you look at it, no one really expected the Celtics to be as good as they are or as they were this season. But also, I think for the Pistons to win 60 games this year and do something that they haven't done in, 10 plus years, that's got to be taken into account. Um, Whereas Mazzulla, he's already shown that he can lead a pretty good team. And I think it's not a surprise that he is a coach of the year guy, but compared to someone like JB, who's only been in Detroit for a couple years, and then previously, he's jumped around from a couple different coaching positions and done it at different spots. So I value that stuff a little bit more. But I mean, Mazzulla is a hell of a coach. The only thing is, he seems like a guy who wouldn't even care that he won either. I feel like he'd be like, "Oh, we got swept in the first round. Why do I care if I won Coach of the Year?" Kind of guy. So, um, but good for him. I think they're gonna have another good season next year. It's just dependent on kind of what they do with their main guys in the off season.
Yeah, I like both of you guys' arguments. Like you said, it was. I think both sides had good, arguments, good cases, for winning the award. But obviously, the voters thought differently. We they came out with the voters' ballots and everything today, and I was looking through it a little bit. It was surprised to see some of the names that got votes, like Taylor Rooks. I mean, respect to her. I don't know if she should be getting I don't know if she should be getting a voting award. So we can talk about that at a later date. But yeah, we'll keep you guys updated through these last two games, the conference finals in the West. Before we get to the finals, which begins on June 3rd, we'll obviously preview that once we know who is coming out of the West to represent and face the Knicks. But until then, we will catch you guys, and also shout out Zach Smith.